adjustments to our lifestyle in order to protect and preserve the earth. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bern, for reading our PowerPoint presentation, environmental awareness. So, environmental awareness is basically someone who has an environmentalism ideology possesses. He is knowledgeable and aware that what he does can make an impact or can affect anything that surrounds him, everything that surrounds him, the environment. And given this, he performs actions and resolutions that can surely benefit his environment for greater good because he knows that he's responsible of it. For instance, Bernie doesn't burn plastics because he knows that doing so can intensify the global warming we are experiencing these days. Or Kiko doesn't throw his garbage in the ocean because he knows that it can cause water pollution, it can pollute the water and can damage marine life. Or James is practicing proper waste management because he believes that it is the right thing to do to protect our environment or Mother Earth per se. Scenarios like this shows environmental awareness. It shows that they are genuinely concerned of the environment. That's why they do actions to protect it. Now, I want all of you to ask yourselves, do I care for my environment? Am I aware of my environment? And do I do something to protect and preserve my environment? Remember, when the earth gets ill, we get ill as well, and we would suffer. We would suffer. Now, if the time comes that we human race cease to exist because of our own actions, the earth will slowly recover. But as for ourselves, it would be too late for us. Because in reality, the earth can exist without us, humans. Whereas humans can never exist without a life support system, which is the environment. That's only why we should protect and preserve and be aware of our environment because we cannot live without it in reality. So next slide, please. Protect and preserve the earth from what exactly? Again, we must protect and preserve the earth from man-made afflictions, disasters, or illnesses. The disasters we create ourselves. And there are actually countless of these on the list, including these on the presentation. Examples are excessive flooding due to deforestation, oil drilling that can poison marine life, plastic usage that might take 100 years to decompose, groundwater contamination, mining accidents, and many other more. And the most common man-made disasters are pollution, global warming, and excessive flooding. And these afflictions could be avoided or prevented from happening, as what I have also mentioned before. If only we show our concern by having environmental awareness and by doing something to protect and preserve the environment. And to the next reporter.
So, man-made disasters. Man-made disasters have an element of human intent, negligent, negligence, or error involving a failure of man-made system as opposed to natural disaster resulting from natural hazards. Such man-made disasters are crime, arson, civil disorder, terrorism, war, biological or chemical threat, cyber attacks, and etc. Man-made disasters are extreme hazardous events that are caused by human beings. Some example of man-made disaster emergency includes chemical spills, hazardous materials spills, explosion, chemical or biological attacks, nuclear blast, train accidents, plane crash, or groundwater contamination. Um, Ibig sabihin na ang man-made ay by human activities that cause of disasters. Natural disasters is characterized by the abnormal intensity of a natural agent, flood, mudslide, earthquake, avalanches, that when the usual measures to be taken to prevent this damage were not able to prevent their emergence emergence or were not able to be taken. Natural disasters are catastrophic events with atmospheric, geological, and hydrological origins. Hydros, earthquake, floods, hurricanes, landslides that can cause fatalities, property damage, and social environmental disruption. Like ng mga natural disaster kay are caused by natural force tulad ng mga typhoon or earthquake.
So, man disaster kung ano
Mac, you're choppy, Mac.
Mek, di ka madunggan, Jud.
I swear to God, dili ka mo dunggan. Fortunately.
Even a little more.
Henry, I can't hear you, Henry.
okay na madunggan ako.
Okay,
Kana,
okay.
kana.
Okay, so to sum up what Neil said, man-made disasters is kumbaga ang humans na talaga ang gagawa ng way na maka-damage sa environment, while natural disasters is ang environment na mismo ang nagagawa ng disaster, like mga earthquake and typhoons. So here are some examples of man-made afflictions or disasters. So Henry Banal, can you read excessive flooding?
So excessive flooding. Flooding is an overflowing of water onto land that is normally dry. Floods can happen during heavy rains, when ocean waves come on shore, when snow melts quickly, or when dams or leaves break. Damaging flooding may happen with only a few inches of water, or it may cover a house to the rooftop.
So Henry, for your understanding, what is excessive flooding?
From the word itself, excessive flooding, tawag nito yung sobra yung baha, ganun. Yung tawag dito, kasi ko tawag dito.
James, pwede
James, can you please mute your mic,
unmute
please?
Go on, Henry.
Yun po, yung from the word itself, excessive, yung sobra na, yung kagaya ng sa example nung sa pinaka-last sentence, yung ang water is parang malapit na sa rooftop ng bahay. So ibig sabihin mataas na yung tubig.
Okay, Henry, thank you. So, we all know naman, di ba, na sa Philippines, mostly sa Luzon part is prone talaga sila ng excessive flooding or flooding. So, ang cause ng flooding is yung mga heavy rains or pag may typhoon na paparating sa bansa natin, may possibility talaga na may excessive flooding or flooding. So, in order to prevent excessive flooding, we must learn how to clean our surroundings, like hindi natin hayaan na yung mga canals natin is mapuno ng mga garbages. Then try natin na we must clean our canals, then mag-prevent tayo na mag-cut ng mga trees. So number 2, water pollution. So isa rin ito sa problema ng Philippines, ang water pollutions na nakaka-damage ng ating marine life. So, in order to prevent water pollutions, hindi tayo magtapon ng basura sa mga bodies of water ng ating bansa. I-prevent natin na magtapon ng mga toxic waste and try natin na isabihan yung mga establishments na huwag magtapon ng mga toxic waste sa ating dagat or sa ating marine life. Number 3, air pollution. Isa rin ito sa problema ng Philippines. So, ang cause ng air pollution is yung mga gases, mga smoke na nanggagaling sa mga cars and factories. And in order to prevent air pollution, um, mag-change tayo ng gas regularly pag alam na natin na sobrang lakas na talaga ng usok na binubuga ng mga cars natin, and try natin and sabihan natin ang mga factories na kung pwede mag-build sila ng factories doon sa places na wala masyadong mga tao. Kaya may possibility na yung smoke na nanggagaling sa factories makasira ng health ng mga tao, hindi lang health ng mga tao, also rin ng ating world. And lastly, last example of man-made afflictions or disasters is global warming. So global warming, extreme heat to siya because of isa rin sa air pollution ang cause ng global warming. So ang global warming is extreme heat na nakakasira ng ating earth, ng ating planet, and nakaka-epekto siya ng ating greenhouse. So next.
Hello. So, moving forward to natural disasters. In simple terms, these are natural phenomenons our environment will experience no matter what we do. Because being a natural disaster means that there is no way on earth we can do to stop it from happening. It will and always will happen. And these are, for example, as you can see in our PowerPoint presentations, earthquake and typhoons that our country, Philippines, is commonly experiencing. So, to the next reporter.
Who needs to be environmentally aware? All of us need to be environmentally aware. It should be our initiative to be conscious of our actions given that it can affect our environment. The place where we exist. Importance of environmental awareness and protection. Environmental awareness is an incredibly important part of our lives in order to protect and sustainability of of the planet. Need to commit to becoming more environmentally. As a human being, we should always be aware for what's happening to our environment and do responsible to take care through plant trees. Dahil ang environment dito tayo kumukuha sa ating pangangailangan araw-araw, lalo na sa tubig at hangin.
Ito ay upang maunawaan ang ating kapaligiran at kahalagahan ng proteksyon nito. Ang pag-promote nito ay isang madaling paraan upang maging isang tagapangasiwa at lumahok sa paglikha ng mas maliwanag na hinaharap.
So how can we promote environmental awareness? So these are the 6 ways according to Jane Marsh. So first is to attend a rally or a march. One of the very common ways to attend rally and promote environmental awareness. Usually makikita nyo to sa TV na may mga protestants na nagrarally sa harap ng gobyerno. Second is the use of social media. One example is the YouTube icon you know or you may not know is Mr. Beast. He has millions of followers and some of his content are planting trees and protecting the environment. So he do a good job of taking advantage of his platform promoting environmental awareness. So third is contact elected officials. So siguro familiar kayo doon sa batang babae na si Greta Thunberg who made a speech in the UN. She was a Swedish activist who warns the unpleasant effect of the global warming. And because of her actions, some environmental organizations has already taken actions toward her plans. And fourth, recommend books and movies. So almost every one of us already watched the movie 2012, a movie about the world going to an end. So movies are a great hindsight or preview of what will happen to the world if you continue to abuse the nature. And fifth, be more accommodating, meaning to say we must take care of the environment as the environment also takes care of us. And whatever we do towards the environment will be reflected to us, whether that's good or bad. And six, write articles and create videos. I don't know about you, but in our past school, we were tasked to create a video about planting trees and write essays about how the trees are going to affect the environment. So those are the 6 ways, according to Jane Marsh, to promote environmental awareness.
So before we go on to the last slide, can anyone say what can you do in order to have environmental awareness and protection? What are the ways in order to achieve it? Henry? Henry?
Yes, ma'am.
For you, how can you achieve environmental awareness and protection?
So, as a student, I will segregate my garbages in the proper trash cans.
Okay, thank you, Henry. How can environmental awareness and protection can be achieved? So first, public awareness. So dapat alam ng mga tao kung ano ang nangyayari sa ating environment para alam nila kung ano yung next step na gagawin nila para maprotektahan ang ating environment. Second, build capacities in technical, social, and institutional aspects of environmental management in village. So for example, sa community nyo, mag-build kayo ng small group na once or twice a month mag-tree planting kayo or di kaya mag-clean up drive kayo sa community nyo lang, sa village nyo lang para ma-maintain ang cleanliness ng inyong community. And may possibility na ma-inganyo yung mga nasa kabilang community na kailangan natin tong gawin para maging malinis rin ang ating community. Third one, find ways to sustain people's interest on environmental issues. So magawa kayo ng ways para mainganyo rin ang mga tao na malaman kung ano talaga ang mga environmental issues para hindi sila ma-left behind, para alam nila kung ano ang gagawin nila para ma-prevent ang mga environmental issues. Number 4, educating people for environment presupposes. So, magbigay kayo ng knowledge or learnings sa mga tao about sa environment. Alam naman natin na sa school, di ba, na gina-lesson talaga ito kung ano ang gagawin para ma-maintain ang ating environment, kung paano natin ito protektahan. Number 5, water conservation. We must preserve our water kasi hindi natin alam kung hanggang saan lang makakasupply ang Mother Nature natin ng water, di ba? So every patak ng tubig dapat i-preserve talaga natin ito at huwag nating sayangin ang ating mga tubig. Number 6, tree plantations. So like what I said kanina na kung pwede magsali kayo sa group na tree planting or kahit one tree lang magtanim kayo ng one tree kasi nakaka-change na ito ng ating environment. Makakalanghap na tayo ng good air. Number 7, pesticides and fertilizers should be used in appropriate quantities to avoid their bad effects on the soil. So every pesticides and fertilizers na ginagamit natin sa ating mga soil, dapat alam natin kung paano ito gamitin. Kasi may possibility na pag hindi natin na-control yung paggamit ng mga pesticides and fertilizer, makakakos na naman ito ng panibagong environmental issues. And di ba ayaw natin na madagdagan ulit ang mga environmental issues natin. So dapat alam natin kung paano ito i-control. Number 8, recycle. So we must learn how to recycle. So for example, may water bottle si Henry. And instead na itapon ni Henry ang water bottle, gagawin niya itong pot para makatanim siya ng plants, vegetables sa kanilang bahay. Kasi alam naman natin na many years pa bago ma-decompose ang isang plastic. Number 9, lessons on environmental hazards and disaster should be taught. So like sa number 4, educating people for environment presupposes. So parang ganun na rin yun na dapat alam natin yung mga environmental hazard and disasters para ma-prevent natin ito. So that's all. So we will give you 10 minutes para mag-study for our quiz.
Nag-raise ng hand si Ervin Watts. Ervin, mbot na siya pilito ni.
Sige, go. Unsa man? Unsa man, Ervin?
My question ka, Ervin.
Gosh. Dito.
Kyrie Irving.
Ervin, may question ka?
Wala. Nagbisa mi.
Nag-miss.